Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Hey guys,
now.
Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com. Silver's doing all right. Doing all right. Something's going on in silver. Everything is different. Everything is strange in the silver market. The normal, hey, we're gonna slam the price of silver when it goes over the moving averages. Right now, as of today, that hasn't been done. The big question everybody has, who's in the know, is will silver moonshot and destroy the COMEX, or will first they slam it down and destroy the COMEX? The COMEX has to go away. It is a derivative exchange set up in the early 1970s to control the price of commodities. Number one commodity in the world to control is silver. It is not gold. Bankers have most of the gold. Bankers know there's about 10 times as much gold out there as guys like Jeffrey Christian will say. There's over 1 million tons of gold out there. I know gold bugs hate it when I say that, but it is true. If you actually do the homework, you read Sterling and Peggy Seagrave's book, Gold Warriors, about Yamashita's gold. It's all, the proof is all there. If you look at my research, the gold in the Grand Canyon, the gold in the banks of the Colorado River, billions and billions of ounces that are still there. They're locked up in natural resource preserves, and the Grand Canyon, you can't even take a pebble out of the Grand Canyon. There's more in the Grand Canyon that I haven't proven yet, but it will be proven over time. There's the Chocolate Mountain gold that was a big scuttlebutt in the 90s, massive amounts of gold found that they turned into the Desert Wildlife Preserve from some ridiculous toad that lives there. Dianne Feinstein was notorious for doing that. And basically it locked up about a little over 40% of California's rich gold country in Southern California has been locked up by the government and said, okay, you cannot go there. You cannot dig holes. Mining companies cannot dive into there. We're going to save that for a future date. And it's been saved for over 100 years, believe it or not. So lots going on in the silver world. And the people who get excited about little moves, this is a really exciting move of 58 cents. Big whoop. For those of you into crypto, and I know a lot of people have, if you follow the road to Ruta, you have a lot of Theta and Theta Fuel. They've been doing great. Now's a good time to start thinking about balancing. I mean, yes, in the future, Theta is going to be worth in the thousands of dollars, and now it's worth $3, $3.50, whatever it is right now. That's great, but silver is going to go from $24 to $600 at the first stop after it breaks through $50. So it's a tough balance to know which one is better to have right now. But if you think about Bitcoin being at $70 to $75, if Bitcoin were to double, it's already over its all-time high. If Bitcoin were to double, come with $150,000 per Bitcoin. Of course, it's coming. I just can't tell you how long. But that would be a huge move, right? To $150,000 Bitcoin, massive move. What would it take for silver to double? You're still under the all-time high. Silver doubling would only hit you, $49 or so, $49.50. So a doubling in silver is absolutely in the cards and well overdue. Whereas a doubling in Bitcoin, that would take a lot. So if you're making a decision right now, should I hold Bitcoin or should I hold the massively underpriced silver? I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I like having both, but I mean, come on. You're talking a doubling in Bitcoin would be a lot to 150,000. I do think it'll happen probably in this run by the end of the year. But when silver breaks free, a doubling in silver is still below its all-time high from 1980. So just put everything into perspective as far as balancing your portfolio. All you crypto people, congrats. You're doing great. Keep it up. Yes, Theta is going to go into the thousands. I can't tell you when. Probably after the announcements and the implementation of what they have already announced for, I think it's May 1st, is the first trial for the what are they calling it? Decentralized cloud storage. The Edge node being able to download an Edge node on but most of the Android phones. Holy crap. 2.9 billion people running Edge nodes. That's how big Theta is. And it's not just for the decentralized storage or the decentralized computing. They call it edge computing and edge storage. And the expansion of broadband would be gigantic for countries that can't afford $1 trillion to expand their broadband to their people. Lots of stuff going on there. So you do absolutely want to hang on to a lot of long-term cryptos. Not a lot. Well, I would say definitely Theta. You want some Veritasium for insurance purposes, because Reggie has the patent on about 95 to 98% of what's going on in cryptos right now. I have always thought, yeah, that's Gary Gensler throwing a little monkey wrench in all cryptos by granting Reggie the patents that he deserved, by the way. First they took him out, and then they grant him the patents. Something is rotten in Denmark in that area. So anyway, that's where I am. Good time to balance, especially if you've made money in Bitcoin. And you're looking at the price of silver, you're going, well, the price of silver doubles, it won't even hit the all-time high. Price of Bitcoin doubles, it's doubling the all-time high. So seems like a no-brainer to me, but you guys place your bets. But yeah, I don't know if this run's going to be the one that takes out we need the COMEX to shut down for silver to be freely traded and appropriately priced. There is no real silver exchange on the planet. No, the LBMA is not a real silver exchange. It's an association, by the way. It's not they don't even call themselves an exchange. And the numbers are ridiculous. They say they deliver in physical silver about 100 billion ounces a year, which is ridiculous, obviously. It should be obvious to everyone, but sometimes it isn't. Anyway, so yeah, good time to rebalance. Contact Andy Scheckman if you need some silver, physical silver. If you don't have a local guy, send them an email, info at milesfranklin.com, and they'll send you some silver, physical silver in your own possession. I like the pre-65 coinage. That's my number one pick. If you live in the United States, if you live somewhere else in another country, your sovereign coins are probably the best way to go. I know they're a little more pricey than regular silver, but at the same time, they carry the premium comes with you when you try to sell it. Not all of it, but some of it. And the probability of gold and silver coinage from your country's mint, the probability of it being one of the main options when the banking system collapses, which is coming. Oh, by the way, did you see this? New York Community Bank reports $2.4 billion in more losses. We've been screaming for a couple months about New York Community Bank. They're done, but that's the thing. All the other banks are done too. So third quarter is going to be a boomer for the banking system. And remember, the FDIC, they had a meeting. They're like, okay, we want a 3-day weekend to fix the problem. Not fix the problem, just bail out all the banks, basically, with FDIC insurance. And they don't want, and even Janet Yellen doesn't want to pay for uninsured balances. But they are going to have to pay. Because the minute they don't pay an unsecured bank deposit is the minute that you, myself, and everybody else runs to the bank and says, I want my money now. I don't care if it's insured or not. I want it out now. And if just the non-insured stuff comes out, the banking system is over. Just look at It's a Wonderful Life. Gotta love that movie. Yeah, it foretold the future. All right. So we're looking at interesting action today. There it is. That's what's going on in silver today. You gotta love that, because why? We gotta look at who are these shorts on the criminal COMEX. Who are the shorts now? And all the shorts, all the players on the COMEX now, the big players, it's all a remnant of the J.P. Morgan theft of 1.2 or so billion ounces of silver. Yes, 10 times what Buffett had taken in the 90s and the Hunt brothers had taken in the 80s. 10 times that J.P. Morgan, the criminal operation led by Blythe Masters back in the day, probably instigated from what myself and other people at GATA were saying, hey, get physical in your own possession. That's what you need to do. And that's what they did. They took the advice of GATA and the Road to Ruta, got physical gold and silver in their own possession. They did it illegally by shorting the COMEX, and then how they got out of their COMEX, I don't know. Criminality. Brilliant, but kind of criminal mastermind type brilliant. Short the derivative market and then load up on all the real stuff. and then let the derivative market crash when it does. Now, who took that short? Who is it? Who is it that is still short and massively trying to play the game, holding on for dear life? That's very easy to see. Just go see who's taking delivery. I mean, who's giving delivery? Who is supplying the silver? Those are the shorts. They were short. That's by definition, these were shorts that had to pay up on their short position. And the number one guy that keeps on sticking his head out the door is HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, probably the number one silver rigger for 100 and what is that now? 170 years since the 1850, the Opium Wars, when HSB was set up as a shell bank. It was called Hong Kong Shanghai Bank by the English. England saw all their silver going away, all their money leaving their country because everybody wanted the new spices and the new silks and the new stuff from China. And China was on a gold standard, so all the silver was flowing out of England into China. So the way to get around that, England set up Hong Kong Shanghai Bank to get the locals addicted to opium. And hence you have the Opium Wars. Because if the England was supplying the opium, then and all the drug addicts had to pay with silver, all that silver was able to flow back to England. And that's exactly what happened, and that's why the Opium Wars were fought back in the 1850s. So that bank has been doing this a long time. They know how to rig, you would think. But here they are right here for the last 4 months. All they're doing is supplying massive amounts of silver to the deliveries. That means they were the short. There are other banks doing more of a shell game, like Bank of America, JP Morgan Customers versus JP Morgan House. But right here, HSBC, this month is a huge month, another huge month. Over 8 million ounces has been delivered just by HSBC. Out of a total, I think we're at 25 million. This is not counting what gets sent over to England for delivery. I think there's massive deliveries going on in England in the at the LBMA, and mainly for India and China. The Indian numbers come out in about 2 days, on the 15th, and it was a massive month in January, and nobody was expecting this. And I'll get to this in a second, because the Silver Institute and Metals Focus should be jumping up and down about all the things that I'm saying. These are not necessarily Metals Focus. They're supposed to be the third-party arbitrator, but definitely the Silver Institute, who's supposed to be taking care of its membership, who are all silver mining companies and people involved in the silver market, investors. The Silver Institute is who is quoted all around the world when people talk about supply and demand. And I have a running correspondence with the head of the Silver Institute, Michael, and the head of Metals Focus. And Philip, I'll show you my recent email to them. And I know a lot of people are contacting them all pissed off and yelling and screaming at them. That achieves nothing. What we need in silver are facts and truth. And if you're going to yell at them and call them criminal and all that, which I have been guilty of in the past as well, it'd be harder for them to change. If you're calm, cool, and collected and explain, hey, how come you're not talking about this, which is actually happening right now? There's something happening in silver, and you hear murmurs of, oh, silver, 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 silver. I've been screaming it for over 6 months. This is a game changer as far as silver supply and demand. Double what the Silver Institute is going to report, supposedly. I don't think they can anymore. I think enough of us have spoken out and looked at the numbers are indisputable numbers. The numbers are indisputable. And Metals Focus is going to have to come to Jesus. Same with the Silver Institute. Unless they can explain away how, if they can explain away how this type of jump happens without increasing the amount of silver used. This is the fact of solar. China had doubled last year what they did the year before. They'll probably double again this year. It is such a massive thing, and nobody is talking about it in the silver industry because the Silver Institute and Metals Focus has played it down. Oh, they'll mention it, but they're not mentioning the doubling or tripling of the amount of silver used just in 2023. Now, here's the problem. They made so much overcapacity in 2023. That's going to be the excuse for 2024. Oh, there was overcapacity back in 2023. That's why the amount of installs is discounted so much. Well, that's why we cannot let 2023 go without fully understanding just how much silver was used. I think it's 350 million ounces at a minimum. And that's just going off what the Metals Focus and Silver Institute posted the year before in 2022. They had 140 million ounces were used in solar. This is not rocket science. As a matter of fact, here's my latest. If you go to roadtoreal.com, you can see what's going on. Here is an email, my recent email to both these guys. It's very calm, cool, and collected. Hi, Philip and Michael. Hope you are both well. I have noticed that neither Metals Focus nor the Silver Institute have commented on much on the shockingly high solar installs and panel overproduction for 2023. This is a major development for industrial silver, and yet neither of you have released proactive, they should have been talking about this over a year ago, proactive announcements to the industry about what a sea change this development is for industrial silver demand. It is now a widely accepted fact in the solar industry that there was 76% growth in solar installations in 2023. Nobody is disputing that. Nobody is disputing that because all the records are there. They have to use official government documents to register with the power entities that regulate power and all that. So it's 76% growth is the number. So you look at, okay, how does that relate to silver? And I get to that. In my own calculations, totaling for 2023, solar silver consumed north of 350 million ounces. Now, I have talked to Metals Focus. They say, oh, you'll be real happy. We're going to be at 180. So they're about half of what is reality, which is massive. And they're going to have to try to explain it away. Maybe they won't come. Maybe they will come up with 350. And we'll see something shocking come April 17th when the silver survey is released. I don't know, but I want to get it into their mind that we are watching and we know what the silver growth was, the solar growth was, and how that translates into silver. Of that 350 million, 250 for the 76% growth. That was easy. There's other ways I calculated it, but the easiest is to take their 2022 number of 140 million and then times it by 1.76, 76% growth. That gives you around 250 million ounces. There is no excuse for not having that. And if they try to say, oh, it's silver thrifting, nobody believes that you could thrift that much. And oh, by the way, silver thrifting is massively, massively overcome by the amount of TopCon. The new go-to solar has a lot more silver than the original. Okay? So this is all simple stuff. I go on to say, on top of that, there was much more TopCon, over 30% installed in 2023, which was more than previously projected, which would obviously further increase the amount of silver consumed in solar. Surely the extra TopCon has compensated for any silver thrifting that took place, if there was any. From what I have seen, the push has been for better efficiencies with more silver rather than thrifting. That is exactly what's going on. Why thrift out silver if you're going to lose efficiency? Because it doesn't matter how much silver you use because the price is going to stay the same while the riggers are bringing it too low. That's the problem. That's how we win the game, is that everybody buys physical silver. On the retail side, people are silent. Why are people silent? Because they don't know. You don't have the right information. This is the information they need to know. That silver used in solar doubled, more than doubled, with all the build out. There's inventories being piled up. Anyway, surely the extra TopCon has compensated for any thrifting that took place, if there was any. From what I have seen, the push is for more efficiencies. Although I don't have a great handle on the overbuild of panels in 2023, I have read articles stating that Europe and China are bulging at the seams with excess solar panels produced in 2023. That is exactly true. And there are many discussions in the solar world about that. Supposedly, Europe had 80 million of that. And I just have 80 million gigawatts, which is 40 or 50 million ounces of silver. Just in Europe, in the warehouses, where China is much bigger, too. The shocking part of it all is that very, very few people in the silver industry are discussing or even know any of this information. Nobody knows. Why? Because the people they rely on for this information, the Silver Institute and Metals Focus, have not told them specifically what's going on. They should have been screaming this for the last 2 years. I go on. I don't know if it's the Silver Institute and Metals Focus that should be giving the industry a heads up, but it seems that nobody is saying much of anything at all. Do you think this is as big of a deal as I do? Question mark. Bix Weir, Road to Ruta. I have heard back from the Silver Institute. They said, okay, we're looking into it. Again, keep it calm. Keep it calm, because we need entities like the Silver Institute and Metals Focus to talk about this, because nobody else in the world knows anything about silver. They think silver's a byproduct. Every time I hear that, I'm like, the only reason it's a, quote, byproduct for copper is that it's priced massively too low. It should be priced at its true fair market value, which it would be no more. It would be literally mining silver, and copper would be the byproduct at $2,000, $3,000 silver, which is probably where it should be today. At least 3 to 1 with gold, probably 1 to 1. Anyway, that's what I got. Just in case you're wondering, Bix, well, what if your assumption isn't correct, that 76% of that solar installs increased 76% in a single year? Everybody knows it. And here's the market guru, Jenny Chase of Bloomberg NEF. She's good. I don't think she has her silver numbers right, or I think she's being told things different from Bloomberg. But it is clear, and she says this in the 2024 Market PV Outlook, the photovoltaic industry added 444 gigawatts of new capacity in 2023, a 76% growth on 2022 build. That is a given. And when you have that, it is extremely difficult to even talk to the Silver Institute or Metals Focus if their numbers are coming anywhere in below 250 million ounces. And right now they aren't. They're at 180. You know, where they get 180, I think they're just making it up, unless they can explain to all of us. Now, I have very good, strong feelings about whether or not they will decide that, hey, maybe, because they've changed their numbers in the past. They change their numbers all the time, historical numbers. Why don't we automatically move to the truth, and then we don't have to keep talking about this? And then everybody would sign up for, you know, the services that they offer at the Silver Institute and Metals Focus, and we can go on with our lives with actual factual numbers instead of what we're given now, which is numbers to tamp down the price. That's what Rustin Benham was talking about. All these different areas we can tamp down the price of silver. Speaking of Rustin Benham, really interesting. He gave a speech on Stay. It's called Stay Golden, which everybody was like, oh my God, Rustin Benham's actually talking about gold. No, he was not. He was talking about the 50th anniversary of the CFTC, but he is talking about how everything's about to change. And I think absolutely it's about to change one way or the other with the CFTC on board or off board. So yeah, he knows everything's about to change. This, you know, him saying this stuff is kind of like the FDIC saying, we know these banks are going to go under. We just got to be able to maintain and get it right so that we save the system and we can continue our lives in control of the markets. So very interesting there. That's what I got for you. Again, Private Road, Road to Ruta. Go to check it out. Amazing stuff on the Private Road. Mainly about silver. Jenny Moonstone does a lot of discussions on silver. The new silver, things are changing. What months they're going to change is the last thing I chatted with her about what are the months, what do we need to know about this year, and here's a little hint: big happenings in the second quarter, and then they try to get things under control. In the fourth quarter, everything blows sideways, which right along with the road to Ruta theory that there won't be an election, and because of the Trump administration, which I think militarily is still in power, a new Trump administration wants to clean up the mess that the last administration made. At any point, they can prick the bubble and destroy the economic system. Every bank goes down type of thing. I don't think they want that, but actually what they want is no winners. They want to make a transition where there's no winners. So all the crypto people wouldn't win. All the gold and silver people wouldn't win. But that's just a little too much control because they are the ones causing us to run to alternative assets. Do you think the United States will ever, ever, ever balance the budget? No. No country has. Clinton lied about it in the 90s, just changed the metrics. No country pays off their debt. As soon as they get close to, hey, we're getting things in order, the next administration comes in and says, oh, we're here to flood the world with money. We're here to forgive all student debt. That's really pissing me off these days, especially come tax season. Biden forgiving debt of the students who got into debt, who got way over their head with, gender studies or wherever their major was, and don't want to pay it back and want the taxpayer, you and I, to pay it back. Fuck that. You guys got to think really hard about whether or not you're going to pay taxes this year. I think there'll be a big push not to. And Trump has talked about it quite a bit, not paying any more taxes as far as income taxes. It's an illegal tax anyway. If you have the right lawyer, you can argue it. But we know how criminal the IRS is. They don't follow the law. If they don't follow the law, why should you do? I loved it when Tim Geithner, the guy they put as Treasury Secretary long ago, hadn't filed taxes for years because he knew what a freaking joke it is. If the elite don't have to file taxes, why do you? You don't. They'll throw you in jail, but hey, you're standing up for your right as a citizen, and you're as a citizen of the United States of America. Show me the law. I love the tax people who fight their taxes. Say, show me the law, because there is no tax law. There's shit that they make up, especially in cryptos. Oh, what do you mean? There's plenty of crypto law. Here's an opinion from the IRS about cryptos a few years back. I'm like, what is it? Show me the law where we have to do what the IRS's opinion is. Show me the law about cryptocurrencies. Show me the law. They can't because there isn't one. Anyway, that's where we are. Private Road, we're giving away one very token. We are giving away one very token. We're almost done mailing out all the Theta family of tokens, and now we're going to start mailing out the very tokens. So we're a little behind, but not much. Should have everything caught up this week. And check out roadtoruta.com. Go to subscribe today to get your very token, as well as access to all the behind-the-scenes info at roadtoruta.com's private road. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.